This is commentary on Lesson 129 in the Workbook for A Course in Miracles. Beyond this world, there is a world that I want. This lesson describes a process that we're being taught of going from the world that we made up of time, of space, and bodies, a world that's dissatisfying, that ends in loss often, and that ultimately ends in death. That world that we made up to keep us from love is exchanged and reinterpreted by the Holy Spirit to what the Course calls the real world. And it's a world in which everything that happens to us can be a function of forgiveness and a function of reminding us of the love that's always there and never really went away. And that so we're moving from this wrong mindedness of the world we made to this right mindedness, to letting the Holy Spirit interpret it for us, and then finally back to the one mindedness. That process is described in here, the process that we'll go through. Okay, so beyond this world, there is a world I want. This is a thought that follows from the one we practiced yesterday. You cannot stop with the idea the world is worthless, for unless you see that there's something else to hope for, you will only be depressed. Our emphasis is not on giving up the world, but on exchanging it for what is far more satisfying, filled with joy, and capable of offering you peace. Think you the world can offer that to you? Now, one of the things to remember is that this idea in spiritual traditions that even if you have just wonderful things to happen to you in this life, and there's very few, but even if that was the case, there's this haunting feeling behind it. Someday it's all going to go away because someday the body dies, and so that's the it's saying that that haunting idea is behind everything and really does make us feel like what we're experiencing, even if it is what we think is good, there's a fear in that. There's a sense of loss. So that's the world that it's talking about. That's world that we invented. And it's asking the question, do you really think that this world can offer you the peace and joy and love that you're actually seeking? So it might be worth a little time to think once more about the value of this world. Perhaps you will concede there is no loss in letting go all thought of value here. The world you see is merciless indeed, unstable, cruel, unconcerned with you, quick to avenge, pitiless with hate. It gives but to rescind and takes away all things that you have cherished for a while. No lasting love is found, for none is here. This is the world of time, where all things end. Right? So this is just getting us to be honest, to see, to look in and see what has been your actual experience here in this, pitiless with hate, quick to avenge, cruel. We have this sense that we're going to be punished for the mistakes that we made. All of that stuff. That's kind of the way we see the world now. And he's just asking is that we might see that has no loss. We might be willing to concede that's the case. So the question is asked, is it a loss to find a world instead where losing is impossible, where love endures forever, hate cannot exist, and vengeance has no meaning? Is it a loss to find all things you really want and know they have no ending and they will remain exactly as you want them throughout time? Right. So this is now he's describing the real world, which is the real world is one in which there isn't any loss, and everything that we want is always there, and it will remain always there, no matter throughout all time. So that's what the Holy Spirit is giving us instead of what we made. This real world where losing is impossible, where love endures forever and hate cannot exist. Vengeance has no meaning. There's no punishment for the mistakes that we made. Nothing's going to happen to us. The things that we fear will never happen to us because there's the real world that we're seeking for in this lesson. Okay, so now here's the process, though, that it's describing that as we go from this wrong-mindedness, a world of loss, to this right-mindedness that reflects the truth, yet even that will be exchanged at last for what we cannot speak of. For you go from there to where words fail entirely, into a silence where the language is unspoken and yet surely understood. So now this is reflecting Once we completely have just this right-mindedness perception of the world we're in, that finally knowledge will come back. And it's in that knowledge where words can't speak of what that is. It's a silence, a language unspoken. That's what reality is. It's not a place where there's words and the normal kind of communication. It's beyond the words. Communication, unambiguous, plain as day, remains unlimited for all eternity. And God Himself speaks to His Son as His Son speaks to Him. Their language has no words, for what they say cannot be symbolized. Their knowledge is direct and wholly shared and wholly one. How far away from this are you who stay bound to this world we made up, this world of loss, time and space, bodies, and yet how near are you when you exchange it for the world that you want? That's okay, so that's the real world, the world where forgiveness is always justified. That's the one that we want. We don't want this one we made. We may think that we do, but if we're honest and look at its outcome, we'll see we don't want that. What we do want is this world, a real world where forgiveness is justified. And so now he continues to describe the process. Now is the last step certain. Now you stand in instant space away from timelessness. Here you can but look forward, never back to see again the world you do not want. Here is the world that comes to take its place. As you unbind your mind from little things, the world sets forth to keep you prisoner. Really like that idea where it says, here can you but look forward. That's his description of this real world here, that we're not obsessed with the past, concerned about what happened there and what will happen, how will how's that going to turn out, how is that going to affect us now. We're not looking backwards anymore. We're just looking ahead, looking to the future, and knowing that all of our experiences, if we let them be, will be one of that reflects love through forgiveness. So we can but look forward and never back to this world again it's so common to us, this world of loss. So, and then here, this real world is the world that comes to take the place of loss. As you unbind your mind from the little things the world sets forth to keep you prisoner. So these little things, again, like it said in yesterday's lesson, are the things of our bodies, all the things that we think the body can give us as an identity or other bodies can give us. Those are the little things. Those are the small things where we've limited ourselves to just this body and what the body can give us. Okay, those are the things that bind us and keep us prisoner. And so he says here, and this is important, value them not and they will disappear. Esteem them and they will seem real to you. So that's a basic idea in the course of how cognition works. Things seem real to us, bodies seem real to us because we value them. That's it. And if we weren't valuing them, then they're not going to be there for us. Okay, esteem them and they will seem real to you. Value them not and they will disappear. So such is the choice. What loss can be for you in choosing not to value nothingness? This world holds nothing that you really want, but what you choose instead you want indeed. Let it be given you today. It waits but for your choosing it to take the place of all the things you seek but do not want. So here's the practice instructions. Practice your willingness to make this change 10 minutes in the morning and at night and once more in between. So get that. This is a practice. Practice your willingness. Right? It doesn't mean that we have it already. It doesn't mean that it's there already. It means that we're looking inside and looking at our wanting system, looking at our willingness, our will inside. And it is our will that we want only love. It is our will that we want only peace and joy. That's what we want to hone, is that willingness inside that, again, is let go of this world we made up and let God, the real world that's there, let that replace that. And so we're practicing that willingness for 10 minutes, 3 times today. And so we begin the practice with saying this: beyond this world, there is a world I want, and I choose to see that world instead of this, for here is nothing that I really want. All right, so that's what we say at the beginning. Beyond this world, there is a world I want. I choose to see that world instead of this, for here is nothing that I really want. And then close your eyes upon the world you see And in the silent darkness, watch the lights that are not of this world light one by one until where one begins, another ends, loses all meanings as they blend as one. So this is the process that we were going through. This wrong-mindedness that sees an infinite set of fragmentation, an infinite set of bodies, each one of these specific points in time and space or specific bodies, each one has a light that lights, and as they light together it becomes this one light again, this light of oneness, and then all separation loses its meaning and they all blend in one. So that's what we're looking for in this practice. Close your eyes upon the world you see, and in the silent darkness watch the lights that are not of this world light one by one until where one begins another ends, loses all meaning as they blend as one. Today the lights of heaven bend to you to shine upon your eyelids as you rest beyond the world of darkness. Here is light your eyes cannot behold, and yet your mind can see it plainly and can understand. A day of grace is given you today, and we give thanks. This day we realize that what you feared to lose was only loss. Now do we understand there is no loss, for we have seen its opposite at last, and we are grateful that the choice is made. So that's the longer practice period. And then during the day, remember your decision hourly and take a moment to confirm your choice by laying by whatever thoughts you have and dwelling briefly only upon this. The world I see holds nothing that I want. Beyond this world, there is a world that I want. So we want to do that once an hour, and then these longer practice periods for 10 minutes, 3 times of the day. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you.